They've already gotten a Bib Gourmand from Michelin.
Again, just kind of boring.
The noodles were great.
Okay, is it supposed to be as thick as it was?
I do have a little quarrel with the naming.
You gotta get bubbly, man.
In the wintertime, if this is still on the menu, that's a red flag.
It was just so plain.
This was the best pasta dish that reminded me of like a well-made pasta dish.
I love beans, all types of beans, green beans, long beans, dragon tongue beans, like you name it, butter beans, like I love
Queen.
them.
Yeah, this was a great dish.
So the thing about this dish, it kind of tasted like nothing.
Welcome back to another episode of Aftertaste LA with Vlad and Nicole, a chef-writer duo bringing you candid restaurant reviews every other week. This week, we're going to be talking about our meal at Lapaba. All right, we had a little break. We took a week off. We're back. We're ready to talk about our meal that we had at Lapaba, which is a Italian-Korean pasta restaurant in Koreatown.
I got interested in this place because I knew that Nancy Silverton had been involved in its creation and kind of probably best known pasta queen of Los Angeles, I think.
Yeah, I think she's like the godmother of LA restaurants to me.
Yeah,
That's how it feels.
I just felt like, if she's going to be involved, especially since it's pasta, it's probably going to be pretty good.
Yeah, anything she touches, usually pretty good. And then the chef duo, which is Matthew Kim and McKenna Lelah, they are married. They both met at Osteria Mozza working for Nancy. So this is a full circle moment, them coming back and working together on this new restaurant. And I think it's their first restaurant that is theirs.
Yeah.
Their menu, their way. So Lapaba opened February 2026. So pretty recent opening. They've already gotten a Bib Gourmand from Michelin. Before we get into everything that we have, let's just do a quick overview of the program at Lapaba. It's a pasta bar. They have mostly pastas, a few snacks, small menu, a couple of entrees. And then the drinks, they don't have any liquor. So soju, sake, wine, a couple of cocktails, nothing too crazy.
Everything's low ABV.
And then the space itself, it really is a pasta bar. I think there's only 2 tables in there, and the rest is this kind of wavy counter that you sit there and eat pasta. They have a little window where you can like see the pasta being made during the early hours, although I didn't see any pasta being made. Let's start talking about what we had.
I actually ordered an NA Bev because I was in the mood for it. And I got the Rhubarb Tonic. Now, I love tart things. So rhubarb, I thought, would be super tart. But it had rhubarb, juniper, and tonic in it. And mostly what I was tasting was the juniper. And it was felt very strong. And it was not sour or tart or anything in the slightest. It was sweet and it was juniper. And I don't know if I just misordered for me. That is very possible, but I was not a fan.
I think if there was booze in it, you would have been more of a fan. This just continues my gripe with NA cocktails. I agreed. I thought it was too sweet. And it doesn't sound sweet.
Yeah.
Rhubarb should be quite tart. But I guess they overcompensated with the simple syrup. Drink that I had, I ordered a Negroni Sbagliato, super popular lately.
Mm-hmm.
It was very classic Negroni Sbagliato with vermouth and the aperitivo and some Prosecco. It was a very pretty drink. The only note that I had was I thought the Prosecco was a little flat. And it wasn't like super fizzy. I wanted that like spritzy, refreshing.
Yeah, because that's the whole point of that element of a Sbagliato.
Exactly. And I don't know if it was just like this, the Prosecco that they had open was a little flat, but that's my one note. Otherwise, it was tasty and drank well and very classic. Hard to mess that one up. And it was served over pebble ice.
Yeah.
And that drink is usually not served with pebble ice, so it diluted a little faster than it needed to, especially for a drink that has no liquor. I also had a glass of wine with my main course, Far Mountain Mission Cabernet, which they didn't normally have by the glass, but they had it available. Probably someone ordered a bottle and didn't want it, or whatever the case may be, they had it. It was fine. It was not my favorite cab. I think the actual wine itself, that bottle was a bit warm. And I don't like stemless wine glasses.
Yeah, me neither.
I have a big gripe with stemless wine. I know it like reduces breakage.
Yeah.
But I want wine that I order at a restaurant to come in a stemmed wine glass. I don't know if that's super pretentious sounding or not. But if you're paying $20 for a glass of wine, I want it with a stem. I want it to be a nice glass.
100%. And also, there's a reason that wine glasses were made with stems.
Stemless is kind of like by the pool or in a very casual setting. But if you're in a nice restaurant, I will say, so they have a lot of sake and soju and makgeolli. And now that we've eaten, I think next time I would veer in that direction over the mixed drinks or the wine. Classically, you think wine and pasta.
Yeah.
Right? But I think sake works very well with pasta, and you should definitely consider it. I think there are more interesting choices here than what we ordered. All right, let's move on to food.
So before our mains, we did order a few appetizers, probably more than we needed, but we are who we are. So we started with the house-made milk bread, which came with black garlic butter and buckwheat honey butter. The milk bread came with 2 sets of kind of a double pull-apart bun, and then there were nice little quenelles of butter on the side. These were fine. I love milk bread, and honestly, who doesn't? I just thought that they weren't quite as soft and pillowy as I have come to expect from milk bread. Maybe a little bit drier.
I would say we have had better milk bread in Los Angeles. They were not bad.
No.
They were just fine, like you said.
Yeah.
I liked the butters that came with them.
I did too.
I wanted 3 pieces of bread instead of 2 pieces of bread because we had a lot of butter left over. And that is usually not the case with us.
Yeah, that's true. Though I do appreciate a large serving of butter. That is very nice. I hate running out of butter. It's one of my biggest pet peeves.
I also love when there's more than one butter.
Yeah.
Give me a sweet butter and a savory butter.
Mm-hmm. That was nice.
This is a new menu item.
Mm-hmm.
I did not see this on the menu before, so maybe they're just playing around with different things, trying to see what works, what doesn't. We'll see if this sticks. It's good. It's just not mind-blowing. So next we had the fried chicken with Calabrian chili and yuzu ranch. Really nice and crisp, well-sauced, crispy, like Korean fried chicken vibes. Lollipop with the drumettes, so you can like pick it up. And the yuzu ranch was nice, but it had a bunch of dill in it, and I don't think dill and yuzu work together well. It wasn't working for me. I didn't enjoy it.
Yeah, I am always a proponent of adding yuzu to basically everything. This might be the one exception.
Yeah, it kind of just was a miss.
Yeah.
I think shiso would have worked better than dill.
Oh, yeah, good one. Yeah, for sure.
Right?
Yeah.
The chicken itself, I really enjoyed, though. I thought this was one of my favorite things that we had. I wanted it to be a little bit more spicy. They really held back, and I don't think they should. I think they should really kind of make it hurt a little bit.
Yeah. Unfortunately, this was the beginning of a recurring theme for me, where I was really excited. I mean, we're in K-Town. I've had so many melt-your-face spicy things in K-Town, and as an Angelino, I've come to love that and to expect it. So when I order something like this and it's just kind of bland fried chicken, good.
I would not say it's bland. That's not fair.
Okay. All right. Well, when I read Calabrian chilies on the menu.
Yeah, you think spicy.
I think spicy, yeah.
Well, I think this is a reoccurring theme we've noticed in Los Angeles lately with new openings. People are holding back on the heat. And I think Angelinos like spicy.
Yeah.
I think they like it a lot more than restaurants think they do. And they're worried about people complaining. You could put a little warning like, hey, it's spicy. You can get it with sauce on the side if you don't want the spicy.
That, and also, as long as it's not every single item on the menu is spicy.
Right.
That I think that's great, to have that option there for people. I mean, we're a city that loves tacos. and people load their tacos up with the spiciest of salsas.
Yeah.
So I don't get this recalcitrance. Okay, what else do I want to say about this? I thought it was prepared very nicely. I liked it was easy to pick up, not get your hands super dirty. It would be easy to share with a group, which I also liked.
Yep. I also loved the daikon, those like fermented pickled daikon that came with it.
Yeah.
A little palate cleanser. I could not stop eating those. They were delicious.
And that's the exact kind of thing that you want to go along with something spicy.
Yes.
It's like it was set up for it to be spicy and then it wasn't.
Yeah. It teeters on the edge of feeling Korean and Italian, but it was neither of those things.
Yeah.
But good fried chicken. I would order it again.
I like the concept. Like,
sure.
Just little
tweaks.
Yeah. Our last app was the Burrata Con Crema, which had a satsuma sweet potato, sweet soy, and chili crisp. Okay, so continuing our theme, I just expected all the flavors here to have a bit more punch to them. I liked the sweet potato a lot. It was done, so it was kind of like candy-like, at least on the ends or the edges. So I liked that. Burrata, what's not to like? But then the chili crisp, I just really wanted something nice and spicy to balance out that beautiful sweetness from both the sweet potato and the sweet soy. And it just wasn't there.
Yeah, all the flavors were really nice with this dish. It tasted really good. I do have a little quarrel with the naming, because on the menu it says Burrata con crema.
Yeah.
But there was no crema.
No.
So what is it? What is the point of naming it Burrata con crema? Because nothing about the dish, like conceptually, is making sense to me with the naming.
Yeah, I thought I just maybe didn't know about some sort of traditional dish or something.
Now you have me second guessing it, but to me, I'm like, okay, like I understand that how burrata is made. There's some cream elements involved, stracciatella and whatnot, but yeah, I don't know. I just think it was a weird naming. I also wanted some sort of bread or crostini or something to go along with this, something to give me a little texture, because sweet potato, very creamy, burrata, very creamy. It was a lot of creamy.
Yeah.
The chili crisp does not have enough crunch to really hold it all together. I wanted some sort of crunch there or some sort of bread. And I'm a bit sick of burrata. We ordered it because it sounded interesting. But this was another dish that I felt the Italian-Korean kind of combo felt like it wasn't enough. It didn't feel Italian enough and it didn't feel Korean enough. It kind of felt like a quarter of both of those things, but not really, nothing really was like strongly taking over. So it's one of those things like you have it on the menu because it's burrata and burrata sells.
Yeah.
But aside from that, I thought it was a bit boring.
I just think if it had a more balanced flavor and that kind of textural element, it would have been a great dish. A bit too simple.
Yeah.
Which, again, actually, I think that's another theme for this meal for me.
Well, let's get into the pastas.
Let's do it.
We ordered 4 pastas, which is a lot for 2 people. We were very full. We did not finish all the pastas, but we wanted to try 4 pastas. There's 8 pastas on the menu. We ordered half of the pastas.
Our first pasta was the Tonnareli and Lobster, and that had chili, ginger, and lobster jus. So this lobster pasta, which I ordered because I love lobster. Lobster is delicious. And this lobster dish comes out, and right away, it just looks very simple. It looks like a mound of kind of brown pasta with a lobster tail plopped on top and a couple of little other lobster pieces. But honestly, the bulk of the lobster was just the lobster tail on top, which is fine.
It's a half tail.
So the thing about this dish, it kind of tasted like nothing but kind of like lobster juice, which I like lobster, so that doesn't bother me. It just was so incredibly one note and simple that I was just left needing more. Like when you get a lobster pasta, you're kind of, I guess I'm kind of expecting something creamy,
Yeah.
something like lobster bisque, but I wanted to see what like the Korean Italian version of that was going to be.
Right.
And you don't really know from the description on the menu because every menu these days is 3 small identifiers. So that can mean anything. That could have meant a cream sauce. Like, I don't know.
True.
So
I know you hate those. I love it, but less
but
is
we
more.
didn't know what we were getting.
That's true.
And then it came to where we were sitting, and I was like, wow, that looks super boring. Took a bite, and indeed it was. I could not taste, or barely could taste, any ginger in there. I was so disappointed in this.
The noodles were great.
The noodles were great. They were cooked correctly. The lobster was cooked correctly. It was just so plain. It was like if you were making this dish like a lobster pasta for a kid who doesn't like anything fancy. Like, they like lobster, they like pasta, so you're just going to make it as plain as possible so they'll eat it.
Yeah, I fully agree with you on the simplicity of this dish. And sometimes with pasta, simple is best. But this was not the case. It was a bit watery, the jus, right? It didn't stick to the noodle as much. And when I think about what makes pasta amazing, pasta is one of my favorite things to make. Having the sauce stick to the noodle is of utmost importance. And that was not happening here.
No. All the liquid kind of pooled in the bottom.
Yeah. And I understand trying to do less because you don't want to play around with lobster flavor. Lobster is very delicate, so you don't want to do too much to it, but they really should add a little bit more to this, either a vegetable element or herb or texture. Something. It was noodles and lobster in a bowl.
Yeah, exactly.
And other than the fact that the noodles were awesome, I didn't like much else.
Yeah. I'm just like, there's so many like tried and true delicious lobster combinations, not only in Western cultures, but also in Asian cultures.
Yeah.
And they were just not present.
The other noodle pasta that we ordered was the Bucatini Amatriciana. I butchered the pronunciation of that, but as our listeners have let me know, I butcher a lot of pronunciations, and that's okay. Everyone's a critic. So this dish had guanciale, pecorino, and jajang, which is like a black bean sauce, Korean-style black bean sauce. So this dish is supposed to mimic like Korean black bean noodles, which usually comes with pork. And I thought it did a good job of doing that. The noodles were really nice. The sauce was really nice. It tasted good, a little sweet.
Yeah, I thought this was one of the stronger dishes, pasta-wise. I liked the sauce. I thought that concept was really good. But yeah, again, just kind of boring. It was noodles and sauce. And it's like you can make, I know it's a little bit more complicated than what you can make at home, but it kind of still had that feeling of like, grandma made it noodles and sauce for you here at the table.
It wasn't fusion-y enough because the guanciale kind of gets masked by all the other flavors going on with the black bean sauce. So it wasn't hitting for me. And then I've had really amazing black bean noodles in Koreatown, and it wasn't as good as that.
But even so, like, if there was a bit more going on in this plate, it would have been very enjoyable. Like, it doesn't have to be the best black bean noodle you've ever had for it to be a good dish. But it didn't have anything else to distract from that if it's not the best black bean noodles you've ever had.
Right. It wasn't interesting enough otherwise.
Taste-wise, it was the best balanced, I thought.
Yeah. Everything we had was not as intense as it needed to be. This was as intense as it needed to be. It just felt a little boring.
So next we had the agnolotti and cheesy corn, which had smoked scamorza, brown butter, and thyme. Again, I thought this was fine. I thought it was a little bit greasy. You had a lot of, the brown butter and then a lot of cheese going on. I ordered it because I love cheese corn. I do think that maybe agnolotti is not the best shape for this because I was really missing that, patented corn cheese huge cheese pull.
Yeah.
And I didn't really get it from this dish. And when I think of cheese corn, that's what I want.
I hear you. I love agnolotti, even though I think corn agnolotti is the most popular agnolotti there is in this town, and there's so many places that have it.
Yeah.
So it feels a bit redundant. I would be interested to see what other pasta shapes would work better to get you that cheese pull. For me, I don't have that nostalgic like Korean corn cheese thing. Like I don't care about the cheese pull. I thought it tasted good. I agree that it was greasy, a little broken. I mean, that's, brown butter tossed in pasta. That's just what's going to happen. So the flavors were there, but it was a bit like broken looking, not like fully creamy sauce.
That's the other thing for corn cheese. Yes, it is definitely kind of greasy. It's a kind of greasy thing because it's full of cheese. But you have so much creaminess that it doesn't really matter. And I also kind of wasn't getting that because, the agnolotti is filled, but it's not like bursting.
I will say the pasta itself, the quality of the pasta, out of all the pasta that we had, the actual dough was perfect. Really well made egg dough for agnolotti. Some of the best that we've had. I think you're right. I think it needs a different shape, not only because it's supposed to mimic Korean corn cheese and you want that cheese pull, but also because why does every new Italian restaurant have to have agnolotti? There's so many different shapes and fillings. Like, Nancy, come on, like give them some more tips.
Here's my pitch. Tortellini filled with like corn juice and this filling, something like that. And then also like served almost like a macaroni and cheese where you have like a cheese sauce on the outside and then cheese on top for the cheese pull.
Yeah, I could see that. Absolutely. So I totally see this as lumaci with the corn cheese, and then they bake it and it gets super bubbly, and then like you get that cheese pull, and that would be good.
Yeah, you gotta get bubbly, man.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I would say that it was not the shape for us.
Yeah.
The flavors are all good. I think it's one of those like everyone's gonna order it when they come, and it makes sense in the summertime. But in the wintertime, if this is still on the menu, that's a red flag.
Yeah, so
actually,
we'll have to see.
Just in general, if you are in LA and you're going to a pasta restaurant and there's corn agnolotti on the menu, if it's not the summertime, red flag.
Yeah.
Huge red flag. That means it's on the menu because it's popular, not because it's the best available. Like, corn is really only good for like a month here in the summertime.
And even then, the corn here is better in other states.
Yeah, California's not known for the corn.
No, we have a lot of excellent produce. Corn is not one of those items.
That's fine. But we have a lot of corn agnolotti.
Yes, we do. We really do.
Too much.
Too much, some would say. Many would say.
Anywho, let's move on. The last pasta we had was the Orechiette and Sausage with gochugaru and Bloomsdale spinach. I love an Orechiette and sausage combo vibe. This was delicious. All the flavors were really good. I love the sausage. I love the breadcrumbs on top. This was the best pasta dish that reminded me of like a well-made pasta dish. Except I thought the Orechiette was slightly undercooked.
Okay, is it supposed to be as thick as it was?
No, I think it could be a little bit thinner. It was a bit thick.
It seemed really thick.
Yeah. But the dish itself, all the sauces, all the flavors and the way it was put together was really delicious. I think execution-wise, it could use a little bit of work. It wasn't perfect, but it was one of my favorite pastas that we had. The sausage was delicious, the Bloomsdale spinach. This was the one dish that really felt like true fusion.
Yeah. It had more going on. It was just more interesting on the palate.
Yeah, absolutely. It had more than 2 ingredients.
Right. 2 discernible ingredients.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it had texture, it had layers, it had protein. There weren't that many pastas on the menu with protein.
Right. Which makes the price point a little bit more
Yeah. I would
unpalatable.
say the prices here were not bad at all. The
No.
portion size of the pasta is kind of in between an appetizer and a main course. These are kind of like 3/4 portions.
Yeah.
So if you have one pasta to yourself, you won't necessarily feel full. But if you have two, you might feel like it's a little too much.
We ordered one side because I was like, we need some vegetables in this meal.
It's true.
So we had the broccolini and summer beans, which had peppers, samjang, and whipped tofu. Honestly, one of my favorite parts of this meal, and it's not technically their thing.
What do you mean it's not technically their thing?
They're called LA Pasta Bar.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It's not in their name.
Right. Well, you got to have a vegetable.
You gotta have a vegetable, and
You got to have a broccolini in LA.
at least there were the summer beans.
Yeah, that was my favorite part of that dish.
To balance it out. Yeah, I could take or leave the broccolini. I wanted it for the summer beans. I love beans, all types of beans, green beans, long beans, dragon tongue beans, like you name it, butter beans. Like, I love them. Love them, love them, love them. And they're so good for you. So yeah, samjang in the sauce, really nice, a little bit of soy and stuff in there. And that was really tasty. And then it was on whipped tofu, which, love a whipped tofu.
Yeah, this was a great dish.
Yeah.
Fusion-y. I think that you put the broccolini on there so it sells, but the star is the summer Romano beans that were on there.
Yeah.
It was delicious. I would order this every time. The flavors were there. The execution was there. I wanted the rest of the menu to kind of have that vibe.
Absolutely. Me too. I mean, this had a lot of essential elements that were missing from the other menu items.
Yeah, for sure.
Flavor-wise, texture-wise, like you name it, it did what everything else really needed.
Lesson learned. They added some large format entrees that we didn't get because we came for the pasta. But I've seen 3 different versions of this menu now, so it's clear that they are still making adjustments. They're still figuring out what works, what people like. So they didn't have entrees before, so I guess people didn't only want pasta.
Yeah.
So, there's like a bronzino and a steak on there. That is all the savory items that we had at Lapaba. We did order 2 desserts. The first dessert that we had was a tiramisu garu, which had miso garu, makgeolli, and black matcha. Really pretty plate. The way that they designed this tiramisu is kind of like a yin-yang type of situation.
Positive, negative, space kind of looking thing.
It was almost like a half and half because it is 2 different tiramisus smashed into one, which I guess has some benefits, some not. I will say that my qualm with this tiramisu, it's with the sponge instead of ladyfingers, and I much prefer tiramisu with ladyfingers to a sponge cake. The flavors were good.
I don't know, I was pretty disappointed. For me, the one overarching flavor that really was punchy was some sourness from the cream, and I really felt like everything else was way too delicate to stand up to it.
And the flavor of black matcha and the makgeolli and the miso garu, it's all like it just didn't work. And I really just like a classic tiramisu, like with that coffee flavored tiramisu. So for me, it was just trying too hard and ended up being worse than the sum of its parts.
I was kind of excited for the black matcha because I could see, I see the conception there.
I would have almost made it black matcha tiramisu and just that. Pick one flavor versus multiple ones and do a less is more approach.
Yeah.
It was almost like too many elements fighting for supremacy here.
Yeah, and none of them stood out because of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not my favorite tiramisu, but I'm quite a harsh critic when it comes to tiramisu.
I mean, we both are. So for our second dessert, we got the bingsu, which is Korean-style shaved ice, and it had melon and condensed coconut cream. I really liked the ice itself. I liked the melon. It was in tiny little balls, so it was easy to eat with everything else. They also had little rice cakes on top, which I love those. So it was just made for me. And then they give you a little pitcher on the side of the coconut condensed milk. And you pour that on top all together. A nice little chili, sweet dessert with a lovely summer melon flavor.
I really enjoyed this. It's very refreshing in the summertime. The Munich melons were really nice, and they're using local, so that was a nice touch. It's not my favorite dessert category, all the shaved ice desserts, because it ends up being a lot of textures I'm not really a fan of. I don't like those jelly-like textures, like with the rice cakes.
Mm-hmm.
But flavor-wise, I thought this was nice, refreshing. And after a meal of heavy pastas, I think I'd much rather have this than the tiramisu.
I love a shaved ice. My one note, I just wanted more of the toppings.
Yeah, it was like too much leftover ice in the bottom.
It was a lot of leftover ice, and the toppings were kind of getting a little lost in there. So I really had to hunt for them to have all the flavors together. But that's a small thing. I liked everything else about it.
It kind of, if you didn't have as much, it would have felt too sweet.
I mean, a lot of shaved ice dishes are just sweet on sweet on sweet, but that's...
Yeah, but that's the thing. Ice is flavorless, so you need it.
Well, for those of us that love a shaved ice, it's all about the toppings, really. Yeah. And it's all about the sugar.
All right. Well, that wraps up our meal at Lapaba. Let's get into the ambiance and the service.
So ambiance, I actually love the way that they have renovated this space. I love the counter. It's a nice thick marble counter at the right height for the chairs. Thank you for that. Very interesting kind of rope decor, like hanging, lots of probably 100 thick hanging ropes from the ceiling that kind of work as blinds for the large windows in the space.
Oh yeah, I did like those.
But they kind of look like pasta. They look like hanging pasta.
I think that was the design, right?
I think it was really creative and lovely. It felt kind of luxe, but kind of cash at the same time. I liked the design of the space a lot.
I agree. I thought the design was very pleasant and nice. I will say it is not a place that you would go to with a lot of people because it's all counter seating other than the 2 tables they have. This is not a place to go with a big group. 2 people, 4 people, if you are okay all sitting on the same side because you're sitting at a counter, unless you can snag one of those tables. And then I thought there was a little bit of an identity issue with the decor itself because there were some parts that felt really fancy and there were some parts that felt very casual. Like the wine glasses were all stemless and kind of not luxe, but then the linens we got were really primo feeling and nice, and the silverware was really nice. So there were certain parts that felt nicer than others, and I just want them to pick one route. I thought that the chairs at the counter were extremely comfortable.
Yeah.
Very nice chairs.
They were.
I love, the one irk that I have with sitting at the bar or any kind of counter seating is uncomfortable chairs, no back support. Mm-hmm. These were luxe. It felt very casual, and we didn't go, at peak times on a Friday night. But even if the place was fully packed out, it didn't give me a vibe of having a place with loud energy and a bustling dining room. It almost feels like a place you would go to for a quick weeknight dinner. Mm-hmm. It just doesn't give me Friday night, Saturday night dinner vibes.
I don't know. I'm picking up what you're putting down here with I'm not sure what they want their identity to be.
They're a young restaurant. I don't think they know yet either.
Yeah.
They're trying to figure that out.
Yeah.
They've switched the menu a few times. The decor is nice, but they're stuck with that full counter setup, so it's never going to really feel like a party.
No, but I think you could make a bar like that a party if you kind of leaned into your wines. You don't have to have liquor to have a bar be a party. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, wine bars do it. well.
Absolutely. So, like, they could lean into that with a happy hour. They could, I don't know, just having more energy, maybe more bartenders there to be like, we care about wine. Like, we have this great wine list. Like, have
Yeah.
some wine, have some sake. Like, I don't know. The energy wasn't there around that part of it.
Now that you've mentioned that, let's talk about the service
Yeah.
and the overall feel of eating here, because I think there were a few notes that we had about the service.
The service was kind of unmentionable. Like, to me, it just felt like there's nothing great about it. They didn't make any horrible mistakes. Just like nothing to really talk up or talk about. I felt like somehow they were understaffed, even though the restaurant wasn't full. They still seemed like each person had kind of a little bit more on their plate than they could handle, which is weird.
Yeah, no one that was working there felt very experienced at their job. When we were checking in with the host, it wasn't like a super warm welcome, which I think is really important when you are first walking into a restaurant, that first impression, feeling welcome when you walk into the door. I didn't feel that way. There was just something off with the vibe. It took her a while to figure out even like where to sit us, and the place was empty. It was never full the entire time we were there. So I'm not sure what took her so long, but that just showed kind of a little bit of inexperience.
And we had a reservation, so it's not like we were just walking in and throwing a wrench into things.
Right. They should have already had this figured out.
Yeah.
And it's two of us. It's not a big party. Nothing felt really warm and welcoming. It was nothing I can say specifically, but it just, I don't know, it was not good hospitality. It wasn't bad hospitality.
Right.
But it wasn't good hospitality. And really great hospitality can fix mediocre food. When we talk about what makes a restaurant great and going out to eat in general, one of the things that really matters that you don't even realize is how you feel during the course of the meal, what the energy of the staff is, what energy they bring to the table, what it feels like to eat dinner at that place. And this place did not feel like a place I wanted to eat dinner at again. I just think from the moment we walked in and the first interaction with the host and the ordering process with our bartender server, I never really felt welcome, and that feeling never left me throughout the meal. It just always kind of lingered, and I don't know if like the notes that we had about the food was increased by that fact. If maybe like you have this little bias where like the food could have tasted a little bit better if everything else felt exciting about being there. Like nothing got me excited.
Yeah. I mean,
there's nothing the staff did to get me excited.
Yeah, and I just think about some of the meals we've had with where we thought the service was really good. It's nothing crazy, like just feeling like your server cares.
Yeah. I think that
Cares
matters a
about you,
lot.
cares about the food, likes food, likes talking
Right.
about food, likes talking about wine. There's almost nothing. So actually, this kind of jogged a memory. I asked about the wines that I was interested in because I always ask because
Yeah.
just because it's the same varietal doesn't mean it's going to taste the same as the last type of like the last label that you had. All of them are a little bit different. Some of them are a lot different.
Mhm.
So I asked about the wine and she was kind of like, well, it's kind of like this and that. Do you want to just try it? And that, it's
Yeah,
like,
it was very clear that she did not know how to sell the menu.
Yeah. And I just thought it was strange.
Yeah. And I think that you like stuff less when there is no sell. In this event, it was just very clear they didn't know about the menu.
Yeah.
There was not enough education or training. So I think let's get to the verdict.
Yes. All right. Quick review of how we do our ratings here at Aftertaste LA. We rate restaurants on a scale from 1 to 4 taste buds. 1 taste bud means you can skip it. 2 taste buds means if you're in the neighborhood, it's worth a visit. 3 taste buds means it's worth a trek. And 4 taste buds means you've got to go. So for Lapaba in Koreatown, we are rating them 1 taste bud. Unfortunately, there's not a lot we can say here about their strengths. Some things were better than others for sure, but flavors, textures, concepts, service, it didn't really hit on any of those for us.
There are better versions of everything that we had in Koreatown already. So it's hard for us to recommend you to go here when locally in that neighborhood, there are better options for pasta and for Korean food.
Yep.
So they're still a young restaurant, and I think they're still trying to figure out their identity. And I think that I see a vision where this could work really well. They're just not there yet. Not for us. We'll revisit in a year and see if things have improved. I would really love to know what those Michelin inspectors enjoyed enough to give it a bib gourmand, because I think there's a lot of other restaurants in Los Angeles that are deserving of that title.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering how much of that was influenced by the fact that Nancy Silverton is involved.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that is not really a knock on Lapaba. It's more a knock on Michelin and the overall state of their review process. I don't think any restaurant should have an accolade like that less than a year of being open.
Yeah.
It's not enough time to give a restaurant enough judgment and to show consistency. Because maybe they had a great meal there and we had an inconsistent one a few months later.
Yeah. And the menu was different. Some things were the same, but it's different.
Right. So overall, I think those are all issues that need to be addressed. And I don't think we'll be coming back this year, but maybe next year if we hear good things.
Yeah.
Well, that's it for this week.
Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel to get more of these reviews in your newsfeed. And if you're interested in hearing more of Vlad's special rants, check us out on Instagram and TikTok.
At Aftertaste LA.
At Aftertaste LA.
Which is all in the description.
See you guys in 2 weeks.